4 plants. You have your Nile here? Yes, I do. Has the little serrated kind of leathery leaves. This is Mamani. It's in the bean family. It sort of looks like coral. This one is Iliahi, or sandalwood. And this is Hawai'i. So the fruit of this is what the alala, the Hawaiian crow, likes to eat. So we want to plant a lot of this out here too. So all of these are pretty drought tolerant plants once they're established. Anything to add, Mark?
No, they're all plants that have also shown some tolerance to fire, which is one of the reasons that they're being planted here. We obviously ecologically don't live in a perfect world, and we have to accept the fact that this is before fire. This was a ohia woodland, so you can actually still see the standing dead snags that burned 10 years ago. But it could probably never go back to that with fire. So instead of having a completely degraded alien ecosystem, we'd like to have what we call some sort of some level of a working native ecosystem, which was why we've tried to go with this suite of species that has shown some tolerance to fire. Susan, do you want to do a planting? Should we do a planting demonstration now?
You can do that, Mark. I'm going to go back to the
Okay. Okay, so there are most everything today here is in these dibble tubes, and so the way we plant those are with this, which we just call a dibble digger. But essentially, find your patch of soil. We'll see if this works or not here. Just give it a good, okay, and see, like right there, that's not going to be deep enough. You want to be able to get it all the way up. So in this pahoehoe, the soil really accumulates in the low spots, so we're probably going to have to, if we can't find good soil in these higher areas, we're just going to have to stick to these little swales that we call them. So essentially, you find a good spot here. Can somebody bring me a plant in a dibble tube, please, and one of those pink flags? So you're going to punch your hole, and you should have a good dibble size hole there. To get these plants out of the dibble tube, some of them have a lot of root to them, so you can kind of just work them before you try to pull them out, and then they should come out fairly easily. You can see this is pretty root bound, so it's good that it's going out. And it should fit pretty snugly in that hole. You don't really want a lot of air gaps. That's a good way for fungus and other things like that to get in. After you plant, 2 very important things. One is you put this pink flag in there that tells us that there's a plant here that needs water. We'll have somebody coming around watering. When they water the plant, they'll pull the flag. That's our watering system. And then, so that goes in. And then also, we don't want just all this bare soil around the plant, because that'll dry out a lot quicker in the sun. So, after you plant, there should be usually pretty abundant material. Just try to put a little mulch around it so it retains a little more moisture. However it works best for you guys, leave it up to you to determine. A lot of times people like to plant in pairs. Maybe one person punching the holes, one person putting the plants in. Myself and Eric for sure will just be going around punching holes, since that's the worst part of this. And what we'll do is we'll punch holes and we'll put the flags in the holes, so if you see a hole with a flag in it, that's ready for planting. So yeah, does anybody have any questions?
You don't have to tamp it down, and once you put it in, and just let it sit there.
No, you can just kind of, let it sit in there. If there's any gap at the top, you can gently fill that in with a little dirt, and then the mulch. Add the mulch. And in these, especially if we're a little short on these space and we have to stick to these little swales, stuff can go pretty close together. Like a meter or a yard apart is fine for this stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Who's the other person who's just digging holes?
Eric.
Who's gone away?
He is,
Oh, the young fellow.
yes, the young fellow, exactly.
Yeah, the young fellow. Yeah.
That is not me anymore. Yes, so Eric and myself, for sure, will just be digging holes. So, you know, feel free to follow us as well. But yeah, otherwise we can get started. If anybody has any questions, just holler. So, yes, sir.
So you don't care where the dibble versus the non-dibble go? They can...
Caitlin, what's in the pots? Just the nio?
Just the Nile.
Okay, I mean, ideally just kind of spread them out evenly throughout the plot, but yeah, specifically. And two, I mean, if there's areas where it's a little shallower and we can dig enough for a pot but not a dibble, those might be good areas for the dibbles. So, and there's also, you guys may have heard there's a pest, a thrip, which is a small insect that attacks the nio, that's really decimated it in Hawaii recently. It may very well affect these plants. We've decided to plant them anyway, just because we had them in the greenhouse already when this pest was introduced. So, I mean, we already have them, and some plants show some more resistance to it than others. So our idea is to try to get a bunch out, and hopefully some of them do well. So, all right, thank you very much.